Yeah, greetings, people. Doc Martin, criminologist, educator, social commentator, and creative arts practitioner here. Welcome to the Roadman's Guide, a podcast chat show about life and issues from the ends, aka the inner city, the road, or just the streets. And you know something? Despite the bad press, negative labeling, distorted myths, and inaccurate portrayals, people in the end survive, live normal lives, and contribute to the betterment of our community. This is down to positive, strong-willed and self-determined individuals, groups and organisations who work tirelessly to make the community a better place, where there's hope, optimism and, more importantly, a sense of belonging. The Roadman's Guide is about giving a platform to those individuals who can voice the concerns, give us insights, pass on the wisdom and offer solutions to the complex nature of life in the ends. But more importantly, the Roadman's Guide is about the community, for the community. So get involved, come onto the show and talk, become a listener, as well as giving us some feedback to shape, guide and improve what we do. Yeah, right. Now, today's show, we're going to look at criminal justice. Now, criminal justice is very close to my heart. You know, I've been a criminal justice practitioner, criminologist, academic for nearly 4 decades. But it's not really about me. It's not really about academics. It's not really about policymakers. It's about people who, from the community who know, people from the ends who understand, been through that struggle, still involved in that struggle, who've got some extraordinary things to say. So on today's show, I'd like you to welcome my man, Ithamar. So, Ithamar, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you for having me.
Man's looking nervous on the other side of the microphone.
I'm nice, Martin.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, yeah. Before we get into this, what I want you to do, just talk to me a little bit about Ithamar. Tell me a bit about, for the listeners, who you are.
Yeah, certainly. I'm a nationalist. I'm a writer, I'm a blogger, I'm a vlogger, I'm a parent.
Tell me the difference between blogging and vlogging. I mean, because I find my teeth hurting. So, like, what's the difference between blogging and vlogging?
A blogger is somebody who writes things into journal format and puts them onto publishing sites so the public can view them. A vlogger is somebody who makes videos that provides a visual and is dialoguing and orating information to the public.
So why do you do both? I mean, why not just be a blogger or a vlogger? I mean, why do you use both mediums?
My blogging career hasn't really kicked off yet, Martin. I'm more of a vlogger as such. I haven't been as busy on the vlogging circuit over the past 14 months, as busy as I was. From 2014, April 2014, that was the date of my first vlog on YouTube.
But before we get to that, right, because you said something interesting when we were sitting talking about the show.
Yeah.
That you was you was involved in racial politics as young as 14. Now, to me, when I was 14, I was chasing girls, I was reading books, I was at school. What was you doing at 14, brethren?
I think it's a lot to do with the area that I lived in and the school that I went to. The secondary school, most in particular, very, very dysfunctional school. It was in a National Front territory of Birmingham at the time, early 1990s.
For those people who don't know what the National Front is, because remember, you're over a certain age. So what is the National Front?
The National Front is an indigenous, nationalist, racist party made up of working class, majority white males who don't adhere to integration whatsoever.
And you was exposed to that from a young age?
I was exposed to that from at least age 11.
So how did you initially respond to that kind of stuff as a youth? Was you aggressive, antisocial? Was you frightened of it? I mean, how did you respond to it?
Well, the intelligentsia side of it didn't really come into fruition until recent times. But as you just alluded there, the physical side of it, I was very much a part of that.
So you mean you slapped down a few people then?
Surprisingly enough, I never actually came into any physical contact with anybody from, how can I have to be careful about what I'm saying, the white Anglo-Saxon male National Front community.
But when you was at school,
it was more the Pakistani Asian community.
But let me ask you a question here. When you was at school, you're supposed to be there to study, and you just got into school and doing stuff. I mean, when you got involved in kind of altercations, race politics at such a young age, did that kind of disrupt your education?
It did disrupt my education. It disrupted my education disproportionately. I left school at 15. I didn't actually officially get expelled from school. I was told by the headmaster that I need to go and complete my exams elsewhere. That took place at St. George's Sixth Form campus in Birmingham.
So basically, did you leave school with qualifications? I mean, did you end up getting qualifications?
Yes, I did. I only left school with 3 qualifications. But I think anybody that knows me and that was in my inner circle that knows me when I went to school, they will tell you that when it was tuck shop, at playtime, break time, I'd be there reading my newspaper as opposed to spending my money on confectionery.
So you like reading then? Where did you get that? Where did you get that love of reading from?
I'm a voracious reader.
Where did you get it from?
You know, when there's been times where I've been in my apartment, I've had no money, so therefore I've had no electric, and I've been forced to sort of sit down and read and research.
Was reading a form of meditation for you and relaxation?
It's a form of meditation. It's a form of liberation.
Yeah, but how was you around your brethren at that time? Because to me, if I was around, I mean, I used to read a lot, and I used to get called nerdy. But did people call you nerdy because you like to read?
Not as such. I always looked at education. I was always very competitive. I always wanted to be top of the class for everything. I always relished when I got top marks in French exams and things like that.
When you get to 16, you left school, you know, you've been out of school a while. What was, you know, your formative years like in terms of adolescence, like 16 to 20? What was you like? What happened?
Okay, then by 16, I had left home. I got kicked out of my mother's place of residence. I frequented numerous hostels in the Birmingham area. What happened from 16 to 18 was I left a hostel, went into a bedsit, left that bedsit, went into a flat, lost that flat, was homeless for a period of approximately 6-7 years. Emotionally,
what were you going through at the time? All of that turmoil going on in your life, what was going on inside your head?
I just couldn't grow, Martin. I couldn't grow. I didn't develop.
So did you become angry, upset? I mean, what were you like?
More frustrated than anything because I couldn't develop my masculinity.
So how did it come out then?
As I say, Martin, it hasn't come out until recent times. Before that, I was always subdued because my life was just haphazard and all over the place. I didn't have a stable place to stay. I didn't have any money coming in.
Did you have any close friends at the time? I mean, did you have another family? Because obviously, if you're drifting from place to place, who became your support structure?
My support structure came my inner circle. I had a few friends that used to come and see me at my place of residence when I had a flat in inner city Birmingham. But those days there, I mean, again, my only source of income was attending police ID parades 2-3 times a week. And I look back now and it sounds depressing, but I think to myself, hey, if you didn't go through that stuff, you wouldn't be the person you are today. So
did you feel when you was growing up and disaffected, did you feel angry that people had things that you didn't have?
No, I didn't. I was never like that. Most of the people, my peer group that did have stuff, you know, their parents were either middle class or upper class. So
when you was going through this turmoil, you was going from place to place, I mean, was you still reading? How did you kind of access information when you was growing up?
My only hope were libraries.
So you used to like to go and sit in libraries?
I had to go to libraries. I think my library bill is well into the thousands now. I borrowed a lot of books and didn't bring them back. So
you got to the age of about 20. You've had a difficult life. It's been hard. So take us through 20 to 30. You know, that period when a lot of people, they've done A-levels, they're trying to get their first place, they got their first car, blah, blah, blah. You know the deal. But in your situation, from your lick 20, what happened between that period from 20 to 30 when most people have stability? What was it like for you?
There was still a lot of dysfunction, you know, Martin. When I was 20, the following year, 2003, marked a significant period in the city of Birmingham in terms of criminology. There was a quote-unquote gang shooting in the city of Birmingham where 2 people got shot, 2 girls got shot. It attracted widespread media attention, both globally and internationally.
So how did that affect you?
It affected me personally because I had issues in the streets with people from particular factions in Birmingham, young people, very young people, and my life was in danger for a significant period of time just by virtue of who I was associating with or associated with in terms of family members and blood ties.
So what was you feel? I mean, at that particular moment in time, without going into too much detail, talk a bit about what you felt at the time. Did you feel helpless, lost, angry? What kind of feelings were you experiencing at that moment in time? Because a lot of our young people at the moment are in similar situations, fighting struggles, internal struggles. So I think one of the things that's really important is to talk a little bit about what did you feel like at the time?
I felt very angry at the time, Martin, because I'm a person that I don't go out of my way to infringe on somebody's territory. I always believe that you should walk your path and you shouldn't infringe on anybody's territory. You shouldn't be interfering with anybody's presence or anybody's person.
Do you think, though, that, I mean, at the moment we've seen Prince Harry and Prince William talking about mental health issues and suffer through trauma. Do you feel at the time when you was going through what you was going through, there was no support to help you to be less angry and to deal with the trauma of all the events that were surrounding your life?
Yes, in terms of neglect from state services, neglect from the community, neglect from the mosque, neglect from the church. Everybody sort of just leaves the youth to do what they're doing.
So in terms of, I mean, you've mentioned the word neglect because it kind of brings me on to kind of a more modern sense. You've been through difficult periods, but somehow you've ended up as this person who's got very strong views. Would you say that based on your life experience, it's led to you becoming the person that you are now, where because of that neglect, you feel that part of your responsibility in the community is to make sure that people like yourself who were neglected don't get neglected anymore?
Quite right, Martin. I think where my quote-unquote strong views have been formulated, I was blessed to have a son back in 2008. And
what's his name?
I don't really want to reveal his name. You know?
Okay,
the only reason why I'm not
fine.
going to reveal my son's name on this radio station is because a lot of people know that I've been fighting to see him for a long time. So I'm not going to reveal his name, but I'll reveal his name to you after the show. I've been parentally alienated from my son for a long time. Only just recently started seeing him again. Then something happened with the police. I was convicted in an offence, unduly convicted. 2 charges, got convicted of both. I appealed those decisions. Well,
let me ask you about that, because, again, one thing I do know about yourself is that you take things on, you fight. I work in a university where there's a lot of lawyers, there's a lot of clever people who studied law. You've taken on the system at a variety of different stages. How did you get the knowledge to fight the way that you had? Where did you get that from?
Martin, I really don't know where I got the knowledge to sort of take on state services and state apparatuses to that extent. We're talking about criminal justice and criminal law. Unless you have the paperwork to back up your expertise in that field, you're not really going to get anywhere.
Yeah, but how, I mean, to somebody listening they're going to be thinking, well, how does he do it? I mean, practically, what do you do? Do you go on the internet? Do you... What do you,
I did
what
a
do you
lot
do?
of studying, Martin. A lot of